the governor of Utah right? Do we need to log off and touch some grass?
Well, I'm always a little bit reluctant to engage in, I think sometimes we can go into a moral panic. We had this about video games right in the early 2000s. But I would point out that people are perhaps not aware that there is a left-wing echo chamber online that is pretty radical and I think is a kind of analogue to what we would call the alt-right. So there are streamers that are extremely popular, have millions of followers, Vorsh, Hassan Piker, Destiny, people who are watching might not know who they are, but I'm sure their children will, who have advocated for political violence against conservatives. There is definitely a hyper-polarised environment in America. I think we do have part of that here in the UK, which is obviously extremely unfortunate and I hope does get dialed down. But I think it's important that we contextualise the anger of people in America at the killing of Charlie Kirk. He is such an important figure within the MAGA movement and he inadvertently became a martyr for the free speech cause that he built his career on.
It's kind of ironic that I don't think his passing away is going to make free speech better. I think it's going to make it worse. And again, as I said in the previous video, it's due to the way that the left reacted. All the cheering on Blue Sky, all the cheering on Reddit made a lot of right-wingers feel as if there's no more room for conversation. If someone has milquetoast, as Charlie Kirk gets shot, and the left, or a significant part of it, because, like, again, people from mainstream media outlets, academics, video game developers, people with their faces, right? They're cheering for it. Like, the message is clear. Like, there is no more room for debate. And so I don't think it will lead to violence, but it will lead to cancel culture, right? Like, if there's no room for debate, then there's no reason for me to pay into your company. If you're hiring left-leaning people, there's no reason for me to promote left-leaning people. Why would I want them over me if they think there's no more room for debate? And so it's kind of sad in a way, because yes, like, Charlie Kirk definitely wanted people to just talk. But if the guy that wants to just talk ends up getting shot, like, other people aren't going to be interested in the message. Other people are going to be interested in self-preservation. And so this is where we are. Now, it's interesting that people are saying, well, this is the BBC, which is basically giving a shout-out to Destiny, Vosh, and Hassan as purveyors of online hate. I love this word, purveyor. It's kind of like an academic fart. Like, I know it's a word from the English language, but usually it was the left that was like a purveyor of hate, right? Like, they purvey the hate. And it's true, like, the BBC and the UK in general, like, they embrace this ideology of the purveyor, right? So, like, if someone may purvey hate, then he needs to be debanked, he needs to be fired. And right-wingers have suffered under this ideology of the purveyor for more than 2 decades now. I know a lot of my subscribers are young people and maybe they don't remember, but the internet wasn't always like this. There used to be a time when the internet allowed everything, right? And so if you saw something harmful on the internet and then copied it, like the Tide Pod incident, people would say, well, congratulations, your child won the Darwin Award. You know, insert another coin, have another child, and hopefully this one isn't going to be retarded. Most people were thinking this way because they were children as well, and they managed to avoid swallowing the pod, right? And so the idea was that, okay, on the internet, there's a lot of extremist shit, there's a lot of bad things, but if a person is retarded and, like, does those things, then, well, they need to be arrested, the consequences need to be fall upon them. And that was what was ingrained in society. It wasn't a top-down enforcement. It was a grassroots, like, people knew that the internet is a dangerous place and you shouldn't do all the things that you see there. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world anymore. We live in a world of safetyism by half. And what I mean by safetyism by half is that half of the population lives under safetyism, the other one doesn't. The other one lives as if it's the old internet. And in the old internet, yeah, you can say extremist shit. And yeah, Destiny and Hassan and all the other people mentioned here, they advocated for violence. I remember Destiny, because Short Fat Otaku copied him, you know, when it comes to the firefighters. If you guys remember, during the Trump's assassination attempt, a firefighter got killed in front of his family. And Destiny basically didn't care because it's like, well, no good person goes to a MAGA rally. Right? Like, MAGAs are fascists, and if you go to a rally, you're part of the fascism, and so he deserves it. And you have, like, this rhetoric, you know, constantly dialed up to 11. And right-wingers aren't allowed to do that because right-wingers benefit from safetyism. Like if you did that during George Floyd's death, right? And you went with a massive platform and said that, like even mild things, like you say, oh, I don't care. It happened, okay, I didn't do it. I wasn't there, I don't care. If you say that, you'd get canceled as a right-winger. I mean, it was so bad that you guys probably remember, like Google it. Google LA Galaxy Serbian football player and find out the case where a guy that was playing football for a club wasn't even in his country, but his wife from Serbia posted a meme online about black people stealing Nike shoes. And he was forced to apologize despite the fact that he didn't post the meme, basically told to control his wife, right? Forced to apologize, gets fired everywhere anyway, left his boo as he walks out. And that's the culture of safetyism we're talking about, right? Like, you couldn't be edgy as a right-winger. And now you have leftists all of a sudden realizing that, hold on a little bit, we now have to play by the rules we created. That's not good. And this is why Hassan Piker is terrified, because Asmongold is calling him out now. He's not terrified that violence will happen to him. He's terrified that he may lose his platform. And the mainstream media, right, like the BBC, I'll give it to them that they're not as bad as MSLSD or other American publications where, you know, like, as far as I know, like, they didn't actually call for violence. But they usually ignore anything that comes from the left. Like far-left extremism and all of that, they dismiss it, they ignore it, they pretend it's not real. And they call everyone that's against the establishment to be far-right. So now that they have this lady here, like, first of all, it's not like the BBC shouts out. Like they had the guest, which apparently is a right-wing editorialist, right? And she's the one that said the fact that there is a far-left extremism going on. But I don't think, like, this is going to be normal for the BBC. Like, I don't expect that they're going to start shedding a light on far-left extremism. I think this is a one-off thing because they're trying to manage the whole Charlie Kirk situation, which they probably realize, well, I mean, you have to talk about it, right? Because, like, you don't get ratings if you don't talk about the main event. But it's also, like, trying to placate and trying to show that, oh, look, we're centrist, like, we're reasonable. But I don't expect that they will have right-wing columnists 6 months from now. Or that they will still talk about far-left extremism 4 months from now. No, I think this is a way that, you know, they can save face, they can act respectable, and then they're going to move on with the same BBC agenda. The Guardian is the one that's more extreme, by the way, right? Like, if you want to see extremism towards the right, you read The Guardian. The BBC is usually, like, a little bit more chill when it comes to that, by usually ignoring any grievances that right-wingers have, calling every single right-winger far-right, whether they are or not, exaggerating anything that the right-winger does bad, and ignoring everything that the left does, which is bad. And so, yeah, don't really agree with the fact that the BBC is shouting out anything. They're just doing what they've always done. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.